Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Huntscomb.
And I'm Michelle Staley.
Oh my God, it's Michelle Staley.
I know.
It's been so long.
I thought maybe you didn't know who I was anymore.
I know who you was. I watch your podcast, Whiskey, Wine, Whatever.
Yeah, Whiskey, Wine. Our Facebook Lives. We were supposed to have one Friday night in Yellowstone fashion because we were going to go to this boutique and she brought in a bunch of new Yellowstone stuff. We were going to drink some Yellowstone whiskey and it didn't happen. I was pretty sad.
What happened?
Oh, they're just she's switching locations and
Can we just blame it on Lori Boyer?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Lori
yes,
Boyer.
I blame her for a lot of stuff. I do. And then on top of it, I was all excited because I bought the Yellowstone premiere, paid for it on
the show,
freaking Amazon Prime or whatever. Get home, we're all excited. No, we couldn't watch it. We had to wait till the next day. So it was like, son of a bitch.
Well, before we go any further, we have a guest today.
Oh, he's
Mr. Curt Wirth. How are you, my man?
I'm doing good.
He's like, is this what it's going to be like? Sorry, Curt.
I'm along for the ride.
That's all.
It's good to see you, by the way.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah.
How do you two know each other?
Jeez,
I have no clue.
Probably just through people that we know, huh?
Just living in a small town together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, small town. Some of the stuff on the radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, when
like
I
that.
met him in person, I'm like, man, he seems like a good guy. I don't know what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just messing.
You took back everything everybody ever said about me.
You know, she's not joking, Curt. She's shitty like that, just so we're clear. That's a Michelle Staley special, as we call it.
What is people's problem? I mean, he seems like a pretty good
Right?
guy.
He seems like a nice guy.
Curt, what do you do for a living?
I am a farmer.
Okay.
And I'm one of our local area farmers. So, used to work at one of the fertilizer retailers here in town, and then went back to farming full time.
That's cool. How do you like that?
You know, it'd be a lot better if Mother Nature would cooperate.
You know, here's the thing. I drive a milk tanker, so I hate the snow. Mm-hmm. And the farmers love the snow. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to compromise and say it'd be nice if it just snowed in the mountains constantly. Just, you know, but that
Bring a
doesn't
little
work.
rain here.
Yeah.
Bring a little rain here. Yeah.
Well, I used to have cattle, so I used to hate the snow too. And now the kids all have the cattle, so I just kind of sit
there you
back and
go.
watch.
Yeah.
But when it's really cold, I'm usually in the house. If they need some help, I'll go help. Otherwise, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man,
I don't miss those
I don't
days.
have the cows to feed anymore. This is nice.
This is nice.
So,
They're not dairy cows, are they?
no.
Okay.
All beef cattle.
Okay.
And the farming's changed a lot since you were first in it and got back into it. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Farming has changed. It's crazy because it changed so much, and now we're kind of actually going back to some of the older ways that we're doing things. So
very cool.
just with, we've got to be careful with how much money we spend, and then when it's not raining and stuff, we can't bank on our crops. So we got to really budget on what we're doing. And so some of the older ways we did it, they're the cheaper way.
There you go.
We've kind of reverted back to some of the older stuff.
Very cool. So when you first got, has it been brought up through your family?
Well, yeah, I grew up on the farm. Born and raised on the farm. And what we did is we put the whole farm into the CRP contracts with the government. That was my dad's answer to retire. And so then I tried to farm a little bit, tried to rent some ground, perpetual drought in this country and stuff, just kind of put an end to it. And, things changed. So I went to town and got a job. And so I worked in town for about 10, 12 years. And then as those CRP contracts came out, then we were farming too much, ended up renting a little bit more. And so I quit my job in town and went full time at home.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Are you watching the Yellowstone that she was talking about?
Yep.
You are. I think I'm the only person in this country not watching that show yet.
Staley and I were late on the bus. Everybody was like, oh, and we were like, we're not watching it. Well, last year we watched all 4 seasons. We got sucked in. The first season we were like, I don't know. But then we got sucked in. And
I got through 4 episodes on the very first season, and then I went, I ain't buying that because it's all a bunch of BS.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm not buying into it. And then everybody talked about it and everything, and Carrie and I watched season 4 last year, and then I was sick with COVID in the month of November, so I got caught up. I got caught up. Yeah, I went back and watched the whole thing. So
COVID has a funny way of having that happen. So
it does.
yeah.
It's kind of a funny thing. Lori Boyer thinks she's Beth Dutton.
Oh yeah.
Well, you have.
I don't watch it, so I don't understand the reference. So.
Well, Is
she a hated
she's
character
a little,
or a
no,
love
she's
character?
a little sassy. She's a little.
She thinks she's bad, huh?
She's badass. So next time you see Lori,
Well, you know, Brian's kind of got the beard going on. He could be ripped.
there we go. So next time you see Lori, say, all right, Beth.
I'm not going to say anything about it. Lori Boyer, you son of a Boyer. I'm just kidding. I love Lori Boyer. So, before you go on, real quick, this is the Bullhucker podcast. So, if you're new to this, what we do is we bring on a guest. Today's Mr. Wirth. He's going to tell us 3 stories about his life. Now, here's the kicker. 2 of these stories are true. One is either halfway made up, all the way made up, or it's a borrowed story. Now, Curt, without going into great detail, what is it? Is it borrowed, half made up, or all the way made up?
It's halfway made up.
Halfway made up. That is the most popular
The
thing.
one that's true.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's not true.
Not true.
The one
Sorry.
that's not true.
You haven't been here for a while.
Who are you?
You know, I think the last time you were here, we were still at the Sands Theater, correct?
I was so cold. I don't even know what was going on.
It was the best of 2021
Yeah, yeah.
episodes. Yeah, that's right. And it was we were at the theater, and there was no heat in the theater. And it was around this time of year we were filming those, and it was like -4 in there.
It was freezing.
Curt, at one point in time, Adam said you could see my little lip just quivering. You know, so yeah, it was nuts. So you've been here so long. We were at the Oktoberfest in the beer garden, BSing with old Chad. So that's why I'm excited for this episode, because I started hearing stories then. And I'm like, okay, now I'm into it. So
Gotcha. All right, good.
do you know Chad Lambert? What's up, Chad Lambert?
I know Chad Lambert.
Married to Jill.
How is he related to Chris?
Yeah, he's Chris's little brother.
Okay.
Okay.
I might have seen him. I've
He's
hung out.
He's number 2.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
it goes Chris and Chad, and then Kara, and then they got a little brother, Kyle.
Oh, gotcha. Well, of course I know Kara.
We all grew up together. Chad is actually my oldest friend.
Oh, cool.
So I
Very
don't
cool.
remember a day not knowing Chad Lambert.
Okay.
Our moms were close friends, and so we got drugged to the hen parties, and we got drug here and drug there. And
Hen party. What's a hen party?
So, you know, a lot of, in those small communities, you know, they had like Thimble Club. That's where they get together
gotcha.
and quilt, or they would, I don't know, they would play cards in the afternoon or whatever. And so his mom and my mom, they were in a group with all these other, at that time, they were all elderly ladies. A lot of them are no longer here. And but Chad and I were the little ones, you
There
know,
they
and
were.
yeah, we joke. I said, you know, I think there was probably a day we were getting our diapers changed at the same time, but I was out of diapers way before Chad.
Chad goes, I remember I was 8 years old.
He's only like maybe a couple months younger than me, but
gotcha,
I was potty trained way before you, Chad, and you know it.
You grew up in Woodland?
No, we grew up in New Raymer.
New Raymer, I know it's a
That's
small
Miss
one.
Prairie folks.
You're a Woodland one, right?
Yep.
Well, New Raymer, what's the mascot out there?
They're the Mustangs, but
Mustangs, okay.
I grew up on the Morgan County line, so I went to school in Fort Morgan. We grew up in that neighborhood, but I went to school in Fort
Gotcha.
Morgan.
Interesting.
You said the hen club. I was wondering if it's like a swingers thing. That's why I was hoping the story would go.
He's like, no. We
No,
learned
no.
it.
Take your friend Chad outside. No matter what you hear, don't come in the damn house.
Don't come back in the house. No, it wasn't anything like that.
He's like, we learned to crochet. Come on, Larry. God, get your mind out of the gutter, dude. Come on.
Mom's all excited to go to this damn hen club. I don't know what it is. Get your ass in the car.
It's a lot of different clubs nowadays.
Yeah, I can remember Mom saying, "So we gotta go to this deal." I'm like, I don't really want to go, you know,
Right.
little kid. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, I think Chad will be there. So I was in the car.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just dragged Ty to whiskey wine, whatever. He's all, wait, isn't it Whiskey Wednesday? I'm like, what am I teaching my child?
I was gonna say yes, mother of the year. Your teenager knows when it's Whiskey Wednesday.
I'm like, and he shows up. He's all, I'm here for the tasting. No.
That kid's getting old though, man. He looks like he might be of age to drink now.
Yeah, he's a big kid now. He's gonna be 18.
18 years old.
Yeah, 18.
Holy shit, are you old?
I know, I am.
Curt, how old are you, man? Or how old are your kids?
I'm 52,
Okay, we're close.
and I graduated from Fort Morgan in '89. I've got kids that let's see, Catherine will be 23 next month, and then 20 and 14.
Wow, that's cool.
Gus is 20 and Jack is 14.
Crazy,
Nice.
crazy.
Still got him young at home, huh?
Yeah,
4 more years, man. All right, then it's
four and a half.
back to wearing no more pants around the house. You know what I'm saying? Get out, Jack. No more chonies for this old man. So,
Yeah,
all right, Mr. Wirth, you ready to tell some stories?
yeah.
Before we start there, though, I do want to say if you do like what you see or hear today, on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little red dot. Please hit that. That's our subscribe button. It helps out us. It's a little click for you, but a big click for us. That's on the YouTube, by the way. People, I had someone be like, I can't find the red button when they're listening to an audio, and I just pat them on the head, and I said, okay, well, you can't do it on the audio. So, but leave a rating and review. I'd really appreciate that. So, we're closing in on our 100th episode, by the way.
Holy cow.
Yeah, this one's going to be like 93 or 94. I lost track.
Gonna have some big fanfare on the 100th.
I'll tell you what our plan is when we're done here. I have a fun one coming
Hopefully
up.
I'm invited.
You're not, so. She just shrugged away from me. Don't touch me, asshole. Michelle, you want to read our stories off?
Thank God I wore my glasses.
Do you want me to wear them?
Let's see.
I got to tell you, that day at city council meeting, Scotty Klinkhammer, I hate you, Scotty. We were trying to read something. I had to pull one of these where I had to look over my glasses to read something. Like an old man. He just started laughing. I go, I hate you so much. You know?
I know. Well, I really need bifocals. I'm having
But you're not going to get them, are you?
Try this.
Do you have bifocals?
Yeah.
How long have you had those for?
Oh, probably 10 years.
Yeah, pretty
Really?
bad. You have pretty bad eyesight.
Really close. I can see the color of the airplanes going over, but I can't read a receipt.
Oh,
So look at the bottom.
Those look good on
Look
you.
out the
holy
bottom.
I do need to get some.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
I can read.
I've been fighting bifocals for about 5 years now. My doctor's
Yeah.
Why am I
like, you
fighting
should
it?
get some. And I'm like, nope.
Because you gotta look above.
So there's no adjustment on the top, but then there's readers in the bottom.
That's
You've
when-
changed my life. Holy shit.
When I found out that I needed them, I was trying to read a chemical label and had a customer ask me, he goes, well, what about this and what about this? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's look at the label. And I peeled it off the jug and I was looking at it and I was holding it back. And he laughs at me. He goes, how old are you? I go, oh, I'm 40. So I was right around
Yeah.
40. He goes, he pulls his readers out of his front pocket, hands them to me. He goes, you need glasses.
This is life changing.
That's a humbling moment, isn't
This
it?
is
Yep.
life changing. Harvest Foo Bar. Do I read them all?
Yeah,
Okay. Harvest Foo Bar. Dead guy in
Kansas.
Kansas. It was all a dream.
Nice. Do you know what I did forget to say, though? We were at the city barber shop.
Oh yeah, we should probably get a plug for that.
We should get a
Yep.
plug for that. So we're going to have it. By the way, if you need your haircut here in Brush, Colorado, or in Morgan County, come down to
Borrow
the
these
city barber
again
shop.
from you. I may or may not get these back. No.
We'll have the website or the way to get a hold of them on the description below. So come see Carrie and Echo and get your hair done, get your ears waxed.
Yep.
Oh
Get your
really?
ears and your nose waxed.
And Echo told me she only waxed from the neck up, right?
Yeah, they do not do Brazilians here.
Yes,
I
they
asked
don't.
her.
They don't do the weird stuff.
Darn it. Staley was going to get excited there.
Doesn't he come here to get his
He
haircut?
does. He's going to be disappointed.
If they do Brazilian, Scott, I will pay for yours just to listen to the stories. Too.
I do have a funny story about that, but
About Scott getting waxed?
well, I got him a gift certificate one time. And I was to the women. You may not know this. I used to have like a training school in Fort Morgan, and yeah, I got him a gift certificate. He's kind of, he kind of likes. He's kind of metro. I don't know. So I'm like, this is gonna be a great gift for him, and he's like, I can't do her.
You know what he probably hates? Having a wife who tells those stories on podcasts.
I used to tell him on radio. He hated it. He's like, God, every day there's something.
There's something new every day. That poor bastard.
And you know what? He never used it because he's like, I can't do her because what if something happens?
Something happens. Like he loses a nut. Like
No,
she pulls it that hard.
You know, or yeah, you know.
Oh. He starts staring at her with one eye. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Exactly.
Yes, Mr. Staley, it's staring at me. It's staring at me. I think he just winked at me. I don't know what kind of muscle control you have, but it's impressive.
Can you please hold that off to the side?
Yeah. Well, and he was a little afraid in case, wax, and he just was like, I can't do her.
Yeah, I don't get anything waxed. I got the fear, man. I'll shave something, but I ain't waxing shit.
I thought he was being a great wife. He's metro. He likes to be metro like that. And,
That's a weird gift, though.
well, you've met me.
Well, no, I shouldn't say weird gift. My mom, for one of my birthdays, got a 23andMe, right? Like a DNA test. I'm like, is this some weird way you telling me that I'm adopted? Is that how you, is this a shitty conversation we're about to have? Like, look, Larry,
Right. Okay.
I've told everybody it's met you already that you're adopted, but now it's time to tell you. You know?
That is an off one. Well,
Well, you know what? It was pretty interesting. Have you ever done it? You guys ever done the 23andMe? I have a little skin in every game. I'm not Irish and I'm not black. Everything else, I got a little skin in the game, man.
you do.
Everything,
You're
man.
what do they call that?
Heinz 57.
Yes, there we go. I was going to call you Mutt, but no, I meant Heinz
Mud is
57.
being, yeah. So apparently my ancestors were not picky at all. They didn't care about skin color, geography. They didn't give a
How
shit.
you doing? That's how they rolled. How you doing?
Hey Sven, Puerto Rican, we had one of those? No?
Get one.
About time.
Bring him here.
They had like a weird sex bucket list. And this is what turns out. So don't do that at home, folks. Don't do it at home. So
If you're getting an inkling.
it's interesting. I'll leave it at that. So, all right, Michelle,
right.
we have 3 great titles. Why don't you pick one there?
Let's do Dead Guy in Kansas. Or Good Guy. What is this?
Dead guy.
Thank God I need the glasses again.
I take my contacts out. I'm showing your own.
It's bad I have pair on. All right.
Dead Guy in Kansas?
Yep.
All right.
So, it's been quite a few years ago. I had just bought a truck for the farm. We needed to go find a grain trailer for it. So I got on, like we used to before we had cell phones and internet and stuff. You get in the magazine, you start looking for what maybe you need. So I got in the High Plains Journal and found a grain trailer that I thought was about the right price and kind of what we needed and stuff. And so I asked a buddy of mine, Dave, said, hey, I need to drive to Marysville, Kansas tomorrow morning. Do you want to go? A cool road trip. It's kind of raining here and stuff. Let's get
Who
out.
doesn't want to go to Marysville, Kansas?
Yeah, who doesn't want to go to Marysville, Kansas,
Who
right? Highway 36 all the way across Kansas. So he's like, yeah, man, let's go. This sounds like fun. So I pick him up probably about 4:35 in the morning. We take off for Kansas. Well, we get down to Atwood. We go down to Ray and head down, and we hit Atwood, Kansas, and like, hey, I kind of like Kansas. It's kind of like Atwood. It's a pretty place. I've never been here before. This is cool. So when we're coming into Atwood, there's a big sign, at least there used to be, that said, "Welcome to Atwood, Kansas, the friendliest people in Kansas." And I was like, that's a cool slogan. Right on.
Friendliest people.
So we go on down through Atwood, and we're on our way headed on east, and we get about maybe 4 miles out of town, and there's a guy laying on the side of the road. And he's laying there with his feet facing traffic, and his right hand's on the white line, and he's on the shoulder of the road. And we go zipping by, and I'm like, "Did you see that?" And Dave goes, "Yeah, man. Do you think he's dead or what?" And I said, "I don't know." So
Was it daytime, nighttime?
it was daytime. It was
Oh,
probably
wow.
about 8:00 in the morning.
Okay.
8:30 in the morning, and somewhere around there. And so we pull over. He goes, "We better stop and check on him." And the whole time, people are just going. Nobody's stopping.
friendly.
Nobody
Say
cares.
nobody friendly in Kansas. Sounds like
Nobody cares. This guy's laying on the side of the road. So
if you're alive, they're friendly. If you're dead,
yeah.
up your ass.
Forget
So
you.
we pull over, and Dave's like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but we better check on this guy because maybe he got hit."
Was he
maybe
laying
he's-
beside like a... you said he was laying
Yeah.
beside a green car.
No,
Okay,
he was
yeah.
no. We had
Just in
we
the
had
road.
been out to go
Oh, gotcha.
look at a grain trailer, but we so we were on our way. We still had a long ways of our trip left, and so we pull over the side of the road and back up to him, and I'm like, hey, this was like early cell phone days, so I was like,
Mm-hmm. You
I
got
don't
your
even
big
know if
bag
we
phone? Did you
I
have
don't-
that?
We did have a bag phone, but I didn't know
It didn't
if
work
mine,
for shit in Kansas, but or on the northeastern plains of Colorado.
But it did work that day.
Oh, hey.
So we pull up there and we kind of go and, check on him, see what's going on. And you could kind of tell he was really faintly breathing, but his eyes were wide open and his pupils were about the size of like pencil leads. I mean,
Oh my God.
and I'm like, well, I'm going to go see if we can call 911. And so Dave's kind of standing there around him and everything. And so I call 911 and I'm like, hey, my name's Curt. We are about approximately 4 miles east of Atwood, Kansas on the side of the road. And there's a guy laying here on the side of the road. He's not dead, but something's obviously wrong with him.
Right.
But we were convinced he was dead. And the whole time we were walking up to him, when we first got there, we're both looking in the ditch because we were like either,
Something
is there
got
a
him.
wrecked motorcycle or is there a car wreck or is somebody going to get us?
Was it set
Are
up?
we going
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
ambushed here and stuff? And so we were kind of on high alert. And so she's like, okay, I'll send a sheriff's deputy out and an ambulance here as soon as I can. And so I'm like, okay, sounds good. I'm going to hang up. So I hang up, and she goes, somebody's on the way. And so I get back out of the car and walk back to him, and my buddy Dave's kind of like nudging him with his foot. He's like, hey, man, you all right? What's up? And stuff. And he wasn't even moving or anything. And about in the meantime, not too long after that, before the sheriff's deputy or an ambulance showed up, a guy from Apria Healthcare shows up with a van of oxygen. And he pulls up and he goes, do you guys need some help? And I mean, in the meantime, cars are still just going boom, boom, boom. Nobody's stopping.
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, this guy's just laying here.
You guys didn't do mouth. You didn't really
No,
take
we
mouth to
didn't do
mouth
any.
or anything.
We didn't do any CPR because you could kind of tell he was breathing a little bit. And
Right.
the guy's like, well, I'll go put some oxygen on him. So he gets an oxygen bottle out, puts oxygen on him, and then he starts rifling through his pockets. And I'm like, dude, I would be careful. Jamming your hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's got needles.
Right.
You don't know what
The
he's
Apria
got.
guy
Yeah,
started?
this Apria Health guy. And I'm like, you're braver than me.
Because I'll look out the Apria health guy. The Apria guy's here.
Yeah, well, and so then he pulls out of his pocket. I'll never forget. You remember we could get those keychains that were made out of a bullet.
Yeah.
So he had a bullet keychain, and then he had a Velcro wallet with an ID card in it with nothing written on it and a crumpled up $1 bill. And that's all this guy had on him. And so we,
So at that point, you didn't know who he was?
no,
or-
we had no clue who he was. We didn't have, a pretty scruffy guy. You could tell he was homeless.
Sure.
And so pretty soon he kind of starts coming around, kind of moaning and groaning and stuff. And then now, the sheriff's deputy rolls up and he gets out and he's talking on the phone, talking on his radio and stuff. And he goes, yeah, ambulance is on its way and we're trying to figure out who he is. And so he's on the radio with dispatch and we're sitting there and the guy's kind of starting to come around and pretty soon he's sitting up and dispatch comes back and says, oh yeah, they had that guy in St. Francis yesterday. He's walking down to the next town down where there's a prison. He's walking out there to go see his buddy in prison, and he's diabetic.
Oh, shit.
And so he would just walk so far until he collapsed, and then emergency services show up, give him a shot of insulin,
So he'd already
let
been
him
at the other
let
town.
him recuperate for a little bit, give him a donut or whatever, and then he was.
Man, that's a
then
good
they
friend.
Kick him back out.
That is the good friend.
And so I asked the sheriff's deputy, I said, do you need something from us? Do you need a report? I mean, we stopped because we didn't want anybody to think we hit him.
Right.
And he's like, no, you guys are good. Thanks for stopping.
No, it's Frank, man. They know him, you know?
He looked exactly like Frank from Shameless.
Oh,
Yeah,
He
looked
did?
exactly like
Perfect.
Frank from Shameless.
You ever watch that?
I've watched a few episodes.
William H.
yes.
Macy? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And so we got in the car and started leaving and stuff, and I started chuckling, and Dave looks at me and goes, what's so funny? I said, the friendliest people in Kansas just happen to be two idiot farm boys from Fort
Colorado.
Morgan, Colorado. We're the only people that
Everybody
stop.
else is like-
Yeah, everybody else is like, we're from Kansas. Nobody cares if you're dead on the side of the road.
Fuck you, Frank. Nobody's
Yeah.
doing it today.
Right? That is a good friend, though. I'm going to take my chances. I got to get to the prison.
What's that movie where, like, stop that dead shit. Stop that dead shit. That lady's yelling at him. Like, he acts like he's dead. What is that? Is that Kingpin?
I
Do you know what I'm
Kingpin.
talking
I haven't
about?
watched Kingpin in a while,
That
but
old man always plays like he's dead, and Lemon's like, knock that dead shit off. I know you're not dead. What am I? I'll think of it. You never seen Kingpin?
I have, but I don't remember that
Yeah,
part
I've seen
specifically.
Kingpin. I don't remember that part.
I'll find it. I'll find it and I'll
Yes,
put it on here.
yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty great story. Did you been to Kansas?
I used to try when I worked for a cellular company. I spent a lot of time on the road in Kansas, Nebraska.
You know, Kansas, you can watch your dog run away all day, man. There ain't shit out in Kansas, man.
no.
Yep.
It was some long road trips, let me tell you, for work.
We took a road trip to Oklahoma through Kansas, man. I was like, oh my God. dude.
Oklahoma.
Oh my God. You can have Kansas, man.
We took a road trip this summer, and the hardest part of that trip was coming back across Kansas.
Oh, my
And
God.
it was at night.
Oh, no thanks. No
Yeah,
thanks.
at least we know on the Eastern Plains we're almost to the Front Range. Like it's
Right.
going to liven
You
up.
can see the mountains.
Right. Although I'd never been to Nebraska when I was dating Patty, and she freaked out. So we drove to Sydney to go have a steak. And I'm like, this looks like Morgan County. I wouldn't tell
Was it an amazing steak or what?
It was.
Oh,
From Dudes. If you go, there's a place called Dudes
nice
down in
to know.
Sydney.
Dudes.
Go to Dudes. It's the
And
shit.
I'm starving
So
right
good.
now. I could go for steak right
Well,
now.
let's go after this.
I know.
So,
Let's head to Dudes.
tell Staley's waxing ass. We'll be home later. So, love you, Scott.
It's like, damn it, don't put her on a microphone.
So, what do you think about that story?
I think there might be some truth to that.
Well, he said it's
Maybe
only half
half.
true, though. Yeah. That's a good story. I didn't see it.
We'll just have to see how the other ones
Yeah,
go. I don't
yeah.
know. I usually suck at this. I don't even know why you have me here, but
No one else can come.
So
No,
you
I'm
can-
kidding.
wait, I know, right? He's all like called 20 other people, and
Actually, I've invited you before. You said we can never make this work this whole year. It's been
I
kind of like
know.
hit and miss. So
I'm a busy gal.
you are a busy gal. Do you ever watch the Whiskey, Wine, and Whatever gals? Pretty interesting stuff. They go to all these, whatever they call whiskey. I'm going to say whiskey winery things.
Distilleries.
Distilleries,
We go to
yeah.
distilleries. Yeah, we.
Have you been to the distillery in Pine Bluffs, Wyoming?
No, we have not.
You need to go
Is it
up
pretty
there.
good.
It is
So,
good.
well,
Is that the name of the whiskey?
Yeah, it's Pine Bluffs Distilling.
Very nice. Yeah, we. You know, it doesn't suck going around tasting different spirits and
I couldn't do it, man.
really.
I get to be a handful after enough whiskey. So,
Yeah, so does Lori.
yeah. Lori. Okay. I do like that story, though. Dead guy in Kansas.
Yeah, it is a good story.
Because old Frankie, they probably know, Kurt, that's why they drove by and he's laying there again. They're like,
They're like,
Yeah, we saw that guy last
yeah,
week.
yeah, fool me once.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a guy in front of the Walmart. I haven't seen him in a long time. And God bless him if he's having a hard time. You know what I mean? But one day it's going to be car needs gas. The next time, the next day, he'll have a sign that says, wife has cancer. You know what I mean? So he rotates the sign. Yeah, man.
he
So
spins it.
God
It's like a
forbid
spinner.
both are true, and he's just trying. But I'm like, man, that's some hard luck, bro. That's flip a coin, I
I
guess.
don't
do
know.
what
I've
you
heard some
got.
different stories about folks that make a lot of money doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Like not to like I said, if they are definitely having a hard time or
It's tough to know, though.
yeah, it is tough to know.
It's tough to
especially
know.
now. Yeah.
I have a friend who worked at Walmart, and on her break, she sat there and counted for a half an hour. 6 people stopped and handed over money to somebody in a half an hour. So 12 in an hour, even at like $5 a
that's-
pop, that's $60 an hour.
Yeah.
And that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
And there's some people giving 10s and 20s, too.
yeah, I'm rethinking what I'm doing right now.
What are you doing? You gonna go?
Selling car warranties. Hey, if you see me at Walmart,
Lost my ass to a car warranty. I'm like, give her $5. That sucks. That's shit right there, man. I'm with you, sister. Some crooked asshole called me too.
you're like, Michelle, is that you?
Yeah, yeah. You know what I do? If it's a family, whatever, I don't give them money. I'll go buy them like a loaf of bread, some peanut butter and jelly, and like a case of water. You know what I mean? I'll drop off food, but man, if someone's getting drunk on my money, it's gonna be me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I took a guy up to the pump one time. He was sitting there with a sign that said, need gas, stranded, need gas. And it was around Christmas time. I was like, yeah, they're probably trying to get home or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
So I said, well, come with me. I'll put gas in your car. And he was like, okay.
So you didn't really need.
Pulled up there, 3 gallons.
It was full.
I was like, you
Man,
didn't
that-
need gas.
Man, that just sucks.
Yeah, well, you know what? You did your
You did the right
humanitarian thing, right? I mean,
Yep. But I wasn't going to just give him money because,
No.
you know,
yeah. And it sucks because you hurt the people that really do need the help for the people who are just trying to grift you. But it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an unfortunate thing in this country. God bless all of them. I hope they're okay, but
right.
it's tough.
It's
tough.
You know, when we gave
Tough
away
time.
free pizza, when I worked at the radio station on Fridays, we'd give away free pizza and pop. We had to start like setting on basically the cooler of the pop because there was one in particular couple that would work us. Like they would sidetrack us so we weren't paid attention and they'd take like, you know,
A case of pop.
a case of pop. It's like, dude, you can have one pop.
Yeah.
So we had to protect the pop cooler. It's like, no,
okay.
no. I'm like, good Lord.
They're trying to fool the 2 blondes.
You know, they're like, start talking about songs or music or something.
Candy from a baby, fish in a barrel.
Like, watch this.
Look at that shiny thing. And then Michelle and Lori Boyer were like, shiny.
Exactly. And that guy was taking, one time they took the whole cooler.
He's like, I haven't bought pop in 2 years. This is fantastic. So, all right. So that was Dead Guy in Kansas. We have 2 more. Harvest Food Bar and It Was All a Dream. Now, I always, the one I want to hear the most, I save for the last. So instead, let's hear It Was All a Dream.
It was all a dream.
You and I are on the same page.
That's what you want to hear, Food Bar last? All right.
Well, it says food bar.
Eh,
What does that mean?
fucked up beyond all recognition.
There we
All
go.
right.
All right.
So I went to school in California and made a bunch of friends out there. And then, when I ended up getting homesick and came home, come back to the farm and stuff. So before we all of us guys got married and stuff, we would all get back together and we would just end up back out there or whatever and go out there. And so I called a buddy of mine and I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to rent a car. He was living in Salt Lake City at the time. I said, I'm going to rent a car and I'm going to drive back out. We went to school in Porterville, California, which is just kind of a little town. It's bigger than Fort Morgan, but like if you combine Sterling and Fort Morgan together, that would be Porterville.
Where in California is it?
That is Central Valley. So
Okay.
it's if you went in between Fresno and Bakersfield,
Okay.
down in the South Central Valley.
You went to college there? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I went to a junior college there, and so I called him. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to rent a car next weekend. I'm going to drive through. I want to pick you up, and then let's go out to Porterville, hang out, drink some beer, play some golf, and we'll be back home by Monday, And he goes, "Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea." So I rent this Ford Tempo, and which it. You think about it now and stuff is like, why did we even do that? We had vehicles to drive, but what was the purpose of renting a car? And
You didn't want to put those mileage on your
I
miles
didn't
in
want
your
to put
car.
the miles on my vehicle. So and you could rent a car pretty affordably back in then. I think I had it for a week and it cost me
He's
like
like, I've always
$400.
wanted a tempo.
Kurt said, what I don't want to do is have any sex ever this whole trip. So I'm going
This
to get a
whole
Ford
trip, I'm
Tempo.
going to get a Ford Tempo.
Mom said to get the Ford Tempo. That way nobody gets pregnant.
So I get this car and I drive to Salt Lake, and he's working at a sporting goods store. And I'm like, hey, I need a pair of tennis shoes. And so he's like, yeah, tell me what size and I'll hook you up. And so I roll into Salt Lake about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and because he was going to get off work about 5. And I said, and so we walk in and we sat and visited a little bit and stuff. And he goes, hey, I forgot to tell you, I got a softball game tonight. So before we go, he goes, what do you think? Because we were going to leave like the next morning. I was going to hang out for the evening and leave the next morning. He goes, what do you say we go play this? I'm going to go play this softball game, and then let's just grab our stuff and get down the road. And he goes, it's 12 hours back to Porterville. He goes, we leave at 10 o'clock tonight. We'll be there 10 o'clock in the morning. It'll leave us extra time to drink and golf. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Cool.
No sleeping. Remember those days when you could just do that and get away with that? Just no sleep. All right.
Yeah, no sleep. So I was like, I said, I'm going to cruise over to your mom and dad's house, and I'll wait for you. I'll go see your mom and dad, because I got to be pretty close with all these guys that I made friends with. They all lived in that area, so I got to know all their parents, and they all kind of took me in as just another adopted kid and stuff. So I was like, well, I'm going to go see your mom and dad, hang out, I'll lay down on the couch, take a nap. He goes, okay, cool. So I go over, we visit for a little bit, and his mom's like, oh boy, I don't think you guys should be driving all night. I don't think that's a good idea.
That's such a mom thing.
And his dad was like, yeah, man, get it done. It sounds like a great time to me.
It's such a dad thing.
Yeah. So, and he was telling me stories about when he was in the military, and they would go days and days with no sleep and stuff. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go lay down, take a nap. He goes, that's probably a good idea. So I go lay down on their couch, take a nap, and Doyle comes in and wakes me up. He's like, hey man, I'm home. I got all my stuff kind of ready. Let's go to
He's
this.
like, I smell like sweaty softball.
Yeah, but he goes,
in
let's
a
go to
car
this-
for 12 hours.
He goes, let's go to this softball game. So we go and hang out, and I watch this softball game and stuff. And And then we hopped in the car, and we went back to his mom and dad's. He took a shower, and then we headed down the road. And so we took off, and I think, it ends up being like 5.5, 6 hours to Vegas from Salt Lake City.
Right.
And so I was like, well, we stopped in Cedar City, Utah, and I don't know if you've ever been across I-70 or I-15. Well, that's actually I-15 there, but anyway, we stop in Cedar City, Utah, and we get a cheeseburger and top off with gas, and then we take off. Well, you get into St. George, and you start seeing maybe a few more palm trees and stuff, but there's a part of the road after St. George that's called the Virgin River Valley. And he goes, well, why don't you drive to Vegas and I'll drive the rest of the way? I said, okay, cool. So we're going down this Virgin River Valley, and it's a lot like going through the mountains, but it's not quite as sharp of turns and stuff. And it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just glued to the steering wheel, and he's sleeping, and he wakes up about the time that I'm passing these trucks, and he's like, hey man, I ain't afraid to die, but I don't really want to die with you. So can you slow down? And we took my foot off the gas. It was like a mile or more before it even come off the peg.
Actually, because you were really booking.
Yeah, we were smoking. And so we get down through, and it's still dark. We're rolling through Vegas and stuff. Sun's just coming up, and we get to California State Line. We stop at Whiskey Pete's out at the California State Line, right? California, Nevada. There's a couple casinos right there.
Whiskey Pete's. That's a good casino.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. And so we stop and eat breakfast and get gas. The worst breakfast I've ever had in my life.
Really?
And I can still remember to this day, whenever I go get breakfast anywhere, I always get the 2-link sausage, hash browns, and 2 over easy eggs. And
How do you mess that up?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, come on.
You can't mess it up.
You go to Whiskey Pete's.
I guess Whiskey Pete's.
Whiskey Pete's. It's a casino on the state line, so it's probably not known for their breakfast.
Right.
So we eat breakfast, and he's like, yeah, man, I'll go ahead and drive the rest of the way. And we cruise off across through Death Valley and into Barstow and Mojave and up over the mountains and stuff, go into the Central Valley. We get to Porterville. As soon as we get to Porterville, we're like, dropping everything, we got to go to the golf course. So the golf course in Porterville is just 9 holes. So we had to play it twice so we could have 18 holes because to make up the time that we were going to drink that much beer. And so we golfed. I don't even know how I golfed. I was so tired.
Yeah.
And all I can remember is how bad my eyes hurt. And then we just kept drinking. So it was just adding to it. And I'm pretty sure we didn't eat. I think we were just carrying the ball probably last 4 or 5 holes. We didn't even swing clubs. Well, we go back to we were at my buddy Chris's house at his mom and dad's. And I was like, man, I'm kind of hungry and stuff. And they're like,
I want some more bad eggs.
Yeah, Mom. And he says, well, Mom's going to make some dinner and stuff. And, everybody's going to get through the shower. And I said, well, I'm going to lay down here on the couch. And we were watching TV and stuff, and I pass out on the couch. And next thing I know, somebody's shaking me awake and stuff. And I thought it was Chris's mom waking me up to eat dinner. And here it was Doyle telling me it was time to get up and go to the softball game. I had dreamt the whole trip up to that point.
And the bad breakfast.
Yeah, I dreamt the bad breakfast. I dreamt everything in between.
Wow.
So you thought you had already went?
Yeah, I thought we had already went, and then, but the trip still went. It still went the way it was. But he's like, "Hey, man, I already woke you up. Let's go. We got to get going and stuff." So. But we hadn't even been to the softball game yet.
Did you eat breakfast at Whiskey Pete's?
We still went ahead and stopped and ate at Whiskey Pete's. I said, yeah, it's like deja vu.
Was it better?
No.
No, not at all.
That's
that
on you.
was the plan.
That's on you, man.
I would have been like, no.
But that was the plan, we got to stick to plan.
Right.
So you were sleeping that heavy?
Mm-hmm.
I never got a chance to do it, but did you ever go to the Clown's Den there between Wyoming?
No.
Larry.
My dad was telling me this story. Hey, I'll tell you about strip clubs I've been to. I'm not shy to tell you where I've been.
I'll tell you too.
Yeah.
But I've never been to the Clown's Den.
Neither have I, but my father.
You have missed out, so I hear.
Oh, that's a bullshit statement.
No,
So
I've
you
never.
know,
No,
so
I've
you
never.
know.
No, I've never been. I just
Michelle
heard.
Staley.
Hey, I used to work at the Diamond at the cash front. I was a little cash gal.
Okay.
I had a nice cocktail dress on. Let me just preface it with that. I wore cocktail dresses,
Anyway,
but never at the Clown's Den.
my
No.
old man was like, the Clown's Den, bro. It's fucked up in there, bro. And for my dad, what's up? Love you, Dad. To tell me that, like, where he was like, like, yeah, bro. But did you leave? Well, no. But, I mean, he stuck around. He's
like, no.
I brought the dollar bills in, son. What else we gonna do with them?
He's like, I went back 2 or 3 more times.
Where else are you going to break this $50 bill?
That's right. Just pay a child support or pay one of their child supports. And who knows you, son? Not me. I'm just kidding, Pops. I love you. But yeah, so but that reminded me of that, like on the like a dusk till dawn situation where
Yeah.
you got to be real careful with those kind of places.
Yeah.
I like that disgusted look you just gave me, by the way.
I've heard stories about that place, man.
Oh, strip clubs come up on this podcast quite a bit, actually. I've heard quite a.
Well, one time was I the guest and you and Dincy were talking about midgets?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Corby Needler's podcast just came
Every
out.
good story starts with midgets.
Oh, but-
Midgets and a case of beer.
I'm telling you, bud. Carrie
Oh,
Cougrin.
you just interviewed Corby?
Yeah, Corby just came out 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And it was with Matt Gordon. And Matt has never been to a strip club.
No.
Yeah, he's never done it. He's like, I just don't. And Corby's
Maybe it's
like,
not his thing. I don't know.
and Corby's right. He goes, dude, you don't do it for the reasons you think you do it. You do it for the story.
Okay, Corby.
He's right.
Yeah.
I used to party with Corby back. Okay, Corby. Back in the day.
Did you lie to me, Corby? You a perv, buddy?
Okay, Corby.
He's a good dude. I like
He
Corby a
is,
lot.
he
But,
is.
but it's true, right? The strip clubs, it's a story. And I don't know how we
It's
got on
always
this.
all about the story.
Oh, my God. This could be a podcast.
Hey,
we're just talking
they have the
about.
best prime rib at the Diamond.
They have the worst at Saturdays, I'll tell you that right now.
Prime rib?
No, it was a buffet, though. It was, but I was 18. It was saying in a room full of naked women. And you want a buffet? Well, I'll pay for a buffet. What's on it? Who gives a shit? Hot dogs. It's weird, but you'll eat them. You know what I'm saying? That's for them, by the way. That's for her. Watching you eat the hot dog. That's swallow the whole, you fucking woman. What'd you say to me? But no, it's but yeah. So it's those seedy places that you like driving through Kansas, like we talked about. There's a
Yeah.
few places like that you stop, and it's like because we were driving in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
You know.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, that's right. I held her hand the whole time, all scared.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, what do you think about that story?
I might have caught something where I'm not. I don't know.
All right,
I don't know yet.
you might got a little something.
Maybe.
There we go.
Maybe.
All right, I'm into it. All right.
We'll see.
All right, we got one left. We got the Harvest Foo Bar.
So when you grew up in the farming, so you know how wheat harvest goes, and everybody's going
Yes.
just 9-0 and
Going what?
I loved it.
90,
Loved it, but
90
it can be
miles
so
an hour.
stressful.
Oh,
We're all
okay.
going 90 miles an hour. It's stressful.
Dad kicking the cooler across the field, cussing.
Really?
Well, yeah, there was a. Yeah, I got chewed out quite a few times.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I survived though. Look at
Yeah.
it.
You survived.
Butt tunes are
But it's a good. It's
Plentiful.
great too. It's a great. Harvest is a great
it's that one
experience
time
too.
of year where everybody's working together to get something done,
Right.
and but it's fast paced, and you better
Because you want
jump
to get
on
that
running.
crop done before Mother
Yeah.
Nature has another
Yep,
idea.
you better
Yeah.
jump on while everything's running. But we, so I was about, my contribution to the farm when I was about 18 was I bought a grain cart. And so
Here
that
comes that green card again.
so, well,
That he went to Kansas for it.
well, the first one, that was for a semi-trailer.
Oh, God,
And
come on,
then-
Michelle. Sorry,
That's
I'm
fine.
trying to stumble him up here. You see that?
But so I went in and I couldn't afford a combine, and we actually needed more trucks and stuff. But I was like, the neighbors run a grain cart and they make sure that the combines never stop. And so we'd talked to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, that's the best purchase in the world for the amount of money that you don't have to spend. They're pretty affordable. And so my contribution then was I went and bought one of those. And I just wanted to keep the combines moving. Everything was going to be good. Well, we ran two older machines, two older combines. One was a John Deere and one was a Gleaner. Oh,
you ran a Gleaner?
we had a Gleaner. We had
Oh
the
boy!
silver cedar.
No wonder why it was FUBAR.
I don't even speak this language, by the way.
This is totally different language.
Yeah.
So, but the unloading auger on the Gleaner was a little bit lower to the ground than it was on the John Deere. So the John Deere was a little longer and further up off the ground. You didn't have to really worry about it. But the Gleaner, you had to be a little special on how you pulled underneath the combine, or else you'd hit the auger. And so we were getting long in the days. Everybody's getting tired. My sister was running the combine, and I pulled up and stopped, and I was sitting there waiting for her. And as soon as she'd get up beside me, then we would take off and we would unload the combine on the go. Well, she pulled up beside me and stopped. And I looked at her and I was like, what the hell are you stopping for? And then you could see the wheat running out of the front corner of the grain bin. She had hit the auger on the back of the grain cart and ripped the whole, because in those days, that one didn't fold out or in hydraulically. You had to physically put it out, and you hooked it on the corner of the grain bin.
No, okay.
And then it stayed out the whole time. And so she pulls up and hits the back of the grain cart with the auger, rips the whole corner of the grain tank out, and we're spilling wheat all over the ground and stuff. And we're both sitting there looking at it. You gonna call Dad? No, I don't want to call Dad. You gonna call Dad? No. And it was one of those days.
Because how old were you guys?
I was like 18, so my sister would have been, mid-20s, early 20s.
I wouldn't have wanted to make that call either.
Yeah, so
I would have just left the field.
so we're like, well, I'll go ahead and call him. And so it was one of those days where everything that broke, Dad was able to fix with a pair of pliers and some wire.
Right.
It was one of those days. And
Redneck engineering.
oh yeah, it was all redneck engineering those days. And so I called Dad and I'm like, hey, kind of got a problem here. And he goes, what's wrong? And I go, let's just say you're not going to fix this with a pair of pliers. And he goes, oh shit. Okay, I'll be right down. So he pulls up and he's looking at everything, and he wasn't even mad. And I think that's probably the most shocking part of the whole story.
That's when you're really scared. At first, you're like,
Dad wasn't even mad. He's like, yeah, you guys did good. This was a good one. Yeah. He goes, well, so we went and we had to go get a chain and a come along, and we had to cinch it all back together, and we were able to at least
what a come along is?
I'm lost all
it's like a handheld winch.
Okay.
You know what a winch is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want me to elaborate on that? You want me to start taking shots here, Staley?
There's different definitions of a winch.
I know. One gets you slapped, I'll tell you that right now.
So I'm like, I was panicked because, it's wheat harvest. Who knows? It could hail.
I'm a little stressed just listening to this story.
Yeah, and so now we're down to one combine, and the wheat was pretty good. And I was like, man, I don't know we'll ever get this combine back, because we messed it up pretty good. And so they got it all kind of halfway pulled back together, got it unloaded, and said, okay, take it to the house really easy. And so they kind of started looking at it. He goes, Dad says, we're going to table it till tomorrow, and we're going to get a good plan on it, and we'll get it fixed. And in those days, we had an old retired Air Force colonel that was a pilot that helped us with a lot of stuff.
Oh, really?
He was a really good electrical guy and a good mechanic and stuff. And so we just kind of went on about our day. I was back to just doing my thing and stuff, and we're just still kind of reeling from breaking stuff in a really good manner. And so I was, thinking, well, maybe we can get another combine. Maybe we can do this. Maybe, trying to figure out how to solve the problems.
Borrow a combine, yeah.
Borrow one, borrow steel, whatever, but otherwise we're just going to be down to one.
Get out the welder.
Right.
So the next morning, we went ahead and ran the one machine till late. And the next morning we got up, how everybody's still kind of milling around. You get breakfast and you're kind of pretty tired from the 5-6 days before, the 2 weeks before and stuff, and Dad come in and sat down at the breakfast table. He goes, why don't you guys go ahead and grease that Gleaner combine, take it back to the field. And I went,
The next morning?
yeah, the next morning. And I said, it's fixed. And I said, we basically ripped it in half yesterday. And he goes, yeah, it's good. Go ahead and grab
Because
it.
the military dude?
Yeah.
I had to buy a bigger pair of pliers. Goddamn.
He goes, about a case of brass welding rod, and some
that
extra sheet metal out of the deal. And the good thing about a cleaner is it doesn't have any paint on it. They're silver, so sheet metal blends right in.
What the hell's a gleaner?
And Gleaner was made by Alice Chalmers. Now they're AGCO.
Okay.
So, but it's a name brand like John Deere.
Okay.
It's a name brand like
Big
John
silver
Deere.
machine.
Case.
I got you.
Yeah.
Gleaner.
Okay.
Now you know.
No paint on them.
All right.
They're just galvanized steel.
I was gonna ride this horse until you told me what it was without me asking. Look, he's gonna know what a gleaner is.
So I'm envisioning, because the guy was in military, like he had to work on shit under pressure and so this was nothing. He's like,
he was like, oh yeah, piece of cake. We'll
this.
just pull it back together. We'll weld it here, reinforce it here. No big deal. So it took them about probably 2-3 hours. They had it fixed. It was back in the field.
You guys get grounded or anything? No.
No, we still laugh about it today.
How'd you get all the weed off the ground?
Well, there's the scoop shovel. So we picked a lot up with a scoop shovel, and then
You know
the
what a
rest
scoop
of it
shovel is?
I hate you.
Aren't you glad you invited
Yeah,
me?
not really.
So yeah, we got to scoop a lot of weed off the ground.
Yeah.
So but it was fixed and going by 10 o'clock the next morning.
So then, did you let your sister back on the gleaner, or you?
No, I didn't make those decisions in those days.
Yeah.
So, but she said from now on we will stop and dump.
It's stressful. I remember those, man. My cousin, one time we were like both driving. We had 2 different tractors in the field, so we were hitting fields 2 at a time. And I went through under these what do you call them, power lines? Mm-hmm. Well, I went through just fine because my sweeps were folded down. Pretty soon I hear my cousin on the radio. I don't remember what Carrie's number was. We're just going to go with Unit 3 to Unit 2, Unit 3 to, and he's stressing out. And I look back, he got his sweeps cutting those power lines. You know, you can, my uncle's like, don't leave the tractor. Don't leave the tractor. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's electrified now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't jump far enough away from a tractor to get away from it.
Really?
That's my cousin Carrie, does sports.
Carrie.
Sherman.
Oh, okay.
Care Bear. Yeah. Yeah, that was I was like, man, I made it through just fine. What's up with you?
You can't leap far enough.
You cannot leap far enough.
Why? Because the electricity will...
It'll get you.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll still get you.
So you got to call. What do you do for that situation? You got to call the
sit
power
and wait.
company.
I think
You
we
sit
called
and
the power company, I think is what happened.
Yep.
What happens if it's before cell phones came out? You just hang out till someone
You
finds
call
you.
on your, I about said CB. It wasn't a CB. It was
we all had two-way.
There we go,
those old
two-way.
Business, we
Do you
all
know what
had
a two-way is?
business band, two-way radios and the
Yeah.
tractors and stuff.
You wait till a guy's walking by, then he falls down. You're like, damn it, Frank!
Yeah.
The one person can help you breathe in.
Yes, exactly. Frank.
I gotta tell you, I've never been lost in a story in my life. Kurt, but you lost me on that one. Adam should have been sitting in this chair right here because Adam would have been like, Gleaner. Bet that fuck Larry up. Gleaner. Yeah. Country, I'm a city boy, so. Yeah. What do you think about that, Michelle?
I think that's pretty true testament. How did you get this? What can we ask questions now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you happen to find this guy that was in the military that so he just did all the fixes for you?
Yeah, my dad was in Civil Air Patrol, and so they met in that.
Gotcha.
Well, in Civil Air Patrol, what they do is they search for crashed airplanes.
Wow. He's like, hey, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I got this.
And so they got to be friends in that. And then when this old guy retired, he flew bombers in World War II. So he'd tell me stories about dropping bombs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he always drove around. They would come and park their motorhome in the yard, and they always pulled a Volkswagen car behind it. And he'd say, "Yeah, that's Kraut's revenge." He says, "That's what I get for all the bombs I dropped on them guys."
Cross revenge. I got a weird question. Is World War II, are their veterans still around? Yeah. Is there still some? I know they were.
They would be very old if they're still around.
I just saw one on 9 News the other day.
Yeah, they're in their 90s, well in their 90s.
Because I remember years ago watching on the news how the last World War I vet had finally passed, but that's been a long ways ago. Yeah, I was young. Yeah, it's wild, Because I can't remember, we were trying to figure that out. Well, so for the Halloween special, what I did was let a lot of people come in and tell their Halloween stories. We're going to do that. for St. Patty's Day, I'm going to do I was so drunk one time stories. You know what I mean? People bring their drunk stories.
I don't have any stories for that either.
I bet you do. But it's sitting next to you when it happens, yeah.
We all do.
And then for the 4th of July, I want to do a veteran special.
Well, that'd be cool.
Where it's just veterans tell whatever story they want.
That's awesome.
And that's when I was trying to figure out if there's still World War II guys around. Because that
Do you know Daryl Armstrong? Do you know Daryl?
sounds familiar.
He always does all the veteran breakfasts and coffee.
Okay.
I interviewed him quite a bit on the radio, and he had some his story. They support each other a lot around here.
That's good though. That's excellent. They have you ever been to the bar in Akron now, the Addie's bar?
I have.
It's all patriotic now. It's all veterans. It's all it's
When did they
cool.
do those changes?
Connie bought it. What she tell me in January of 2020?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, right before COVID hit, that poor woman bought this bar,
Yeah.
and then it just takes a shit dive on her, you know. But she made it. So
Yeah.
but I think the veterans now you're gonna have the most luck with is Korea and Vietnam. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
the next
When you get to
generation.
figuring, back in the 40s, a lot of those guys were in their 20s.
Right.
They were, they weren't as young as like they were in Vietnam. They were,
True.
they were 21, 22 years old.
So they'd be about 100 years old now.
Yeah, they'd be pushing 100 years old.
That's crazy, man. I know my dad was in Vietnam. He doesn't talk about it.
He doesn't.
If he gets a few joints in him, then he'll tell you a little bit, but he doesn't. Just not something he likes to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't press him. He's told me some things before. I'm the oldest, so I think he kind of, but he doesn't go
Yep.
Yeah.
the traumatic stuff, We'll
I have
see.
some family members that have served, and they don't share either.
And I don't blame him. I can't
Yeah.
imagine. Were you in the service, Kurt? Or
No.
No.
Takes a special just lots of family members.
Right.
Air Force, Marines, Army, quite a few family members actually.
Right. And like the VFWs are kind of dying now too, aren't they? Like they're not signing up for to
To do stuff with the
like member wise.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not real big anymore. I don't think.
Yeah.
It's kind of too bad. It's too
Yeah.
bad. But yeah. But okay. Well, Michelle, what do you think? You have one in mind? Don't say it out loud yet.
it's like you know me.
We have to. How do we pick? How do we pick who goes first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Ah,
Remember, but I don't
yeah.
remember which
Kurt-
time we do it.
Kurt, how do you rock paper scissors? Do you do 3 pumps or 4 pumps?
I do 3 pumps. I go
Boom,
rock,
boom, boom.
boom.
Okay. 3 pumpers are making a comeback this year. What do you do? You're
Three.
a 3 pumper.
3.
That's what I'm talking about. Finally, Denzia was on a podcast where somebody was a 3 pumper, and I couldn't be more elated because it's always they never come on when Denzia's here. She's always a 4 pumper. She loves to rub it in my face. So, all right, ready?
Okay.
You can do 3. Come on now. Whoop, whoop.
Let's see here.
What's the name?
So I get to say which one I think is.
Yep, name them off first.
So we have Harvest Foobar, Dead Guy in Kansas. It was all a dream.
All right. And one more time before we do this, one more plug for the City Barbershop. Please make sure you check
this
out
is
your
a nice.
downtown
I'm gonna hang
garage.
out. I'm gonna come hang out on that. We need to have a. Well, I'm gonna plug myself here.
Plug your.
We need to have a whiskey, wine,
I'm gonna-
whatever on this sweet leather couch over
I'm
here.
gonna isolate that audio, by the way, just so you
It'll
know.
be gone.
I'm sure that Carrie would be more than happy to have you here and doing that.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a cool couch to hang out on. This is a cool place.
It is a cool place. They're doing a good job with it here. And like I said, her and Echo were great. So is there a third lady here? Or no,
Yeah,
just-
there's Dusty.
Okay.
Like gagging for her last name right now. Selling? I don't know. But Dusty's here. She was from here before, and then they had just moved back from Texas. So there's a lot of people that know her,
Nice.
and so she's blending in really well.
Nice.
It sounds like a military thing. We'd say like carry Dusty Echo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But come down and see Dusty carry Echo and come get your hair. Well, I mean, we're all bald, so well, not you though. You can come get your hair cut.
Yeah.
here.
You get your head waxed here?
I get my ears waxed,
Ears waxed? Oh, look at that.
You did it before we did the podcast.
trim my eyebrows, and trim my beard.
Yeah. I need to get there. I'm getting a little bushy
I know.
eyebrows. So I'm
I
afraid
can't even see to pluck mine anymore. That's you could. I need to borrow your glasses.
you just don't give a shit after a while, right? It's
You're just like pff, whatever.
yeah, you did the old Disney the villain eyebrows. You don't give a shit. I'm
I
with you.
hear that thin eyebrows are making their way back though.
I won't do it. So okay.
So I need to see. Let's see, which one I think is the
I would do it
because it's part true, part not true.
Yep.
Right. I'm gonna say I think the one that was all a dream.
Why do you think that?
Because he stumbled a little bit. Because something about the softball games, like the guy had went, and you were just hanging out with the parents, and then you made it sound like then you guys
Well, I fell asleep on the couch, and I dreamt that I went.
But there was a time before that you said you kind of stumbled saying that then you went to the softball game, and I didn't think you went to the softball game. So I don't know. I don't know.
So you're going to take that. So I think Harvest Food Bar, well, I think Dead Guy in Kansas is true. That's a great story, by the way. I
hope you made it to the prison.
What's that?
I hope you made it to the prison.
You know what? At least that day. I mean, the next day it's going to be the local cab service, quotation marks. It was all a dream. You know what? I was aiming towards that one at first. Well, no, but I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to take Harvest Food Bar, and here is why. This is a long shot. I'm going to take that because when she asked you how you got all the weed off the ground, you stopped, like you had to really think, man. So
because he's like,
paused.
Really, Michelle, you know the answer to this. You're a farm girl.
Yeah, but
get that damn shovel.
But the ape sitting next to you didn't know that, so
So what's a shovel?
yeah. So, and maybe not. That's a long shot. My gut tells me it's all a dream. Is it? But I'm not going to pick it. I'm going to take Harvest Food Bar just because you paused so much on that right there. It's a long shot, but if I'm right, you never hear the end of it, Miss Staley. So, Mr. Curt, let's see the board, my man. It was all just a dream. Damn it!
I finally pinned one.
What part of that's not true?
The fact that I dreamt it.
Oh.
Actually, the whole trip went exactly the way I told you.
All right.
So, and there was also the return
And the
trip
shitty
home
breakfast.
too that we didn't have time for.
Nice.
And the shitty breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shitty
I kind of want to go to
breakfast.
Whiskey Pete's, see if they've changed their menu.
What's the burrito place in the Front Range?
Santiago's?
Evil Pete's or something. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. It's good
You
stuff.
ever been there?
I have.
I've heard it's amazing. You know what I'm talking about?
Evil Pete's. I about said, Wicked Pete's? No.
Something
No.
along those lines.
Wicked Pete's, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's supposed to be a great burrito place. When you said that, that's what I thought about the Whiskey
God, I am
Pete's.
so hungry right now.
Are you?
Absolutely.
Let's go to Cindy, Nebraska. I know the way. So, oh my God, that was great. But before we leave, I do
What do
want to
I
say
win?
my respect.
Okay, good. I'll
That
take
ain't
it.
that ain't worth shit,
Even
right?
after,
That ain't worth shit.
even after I was giving you a hard time.
It's because we love each other,
Busting your
right?
yams, yeah.
All right. Michelle, I know, you know how we met? At a fit challenge. You can't tell by looking at me. It was many years ago. And
Yeah,
I'll
but
tell
you're-
you about Michelle Staley is we were at the Whaler's. I worked for Mike at the time. And they got me in this fit challenge. And they said, well, Michelle Staley is going to come with us as well. And I didn't know Michelle Staley until she threatened me. Do you remember this? You sat me down and you were like, we don't lose these. You will try your hardest. You will do everything
I don't
you're
think
supposed to do.
I don't think I quite said it
You
like
got
that.
like intense with me. I'm like, I thought to myself, do I gotta fight this chick? Is that what's going on?
Well, I think I did one right before it, so I was pretty amped up.
You were
I'm like,
amped
I'm
up.
going to win this son of a
You were
bitch.
you took one look at me and she's like, the fat lazy one. Is that this is the
He's
one?
my partner.
I'm sorry. Did I say, hey, go find an anchor for this team? Is that what I?
I'm like, if I got to fight her, I better
But
pack
I
a
was kind of
lunch.
like, he could lose a lot of weight, so that could help us.
That's right. Which I didn't. We didn't win it all, but we give it. We tried.
We had some fun yoga stories.
That yoga. You ever tried yoga?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's awful. So
Yeah.
It is. It's really hard.
I got launched on by a lady. I told you that, right? That old lady, man. She aimed it right at me, but I think someone got on me. That's here and over there. It's a different story for a different time. But
You know, you're moving, you're stretching,
Right.
things happen. I wasn't the old lady. I wasn't the old lady, just so you know.
I started laughing. I'm a child. I wasn't gonna. Everybody else was respectful of her. Now I started laughing like, "Holy shit, lady! My God, it offended me." But anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming on. Before we go, though, I do want to remind you, hit that red button on the right bottom hand corner of the screen. That's our subscribe button. It's free, and it will tell you exactly when every Tuesday we release these. So come check it out, support us, and we love you for it. Michelle will high five you in public. On December 9th and 10th, comedy is coming back to the golf course. Make sure you get your
nice.
tickets. Yep. We had a great showing the first time. This one will be even better.
And thanks for helping some friends out. They were so excited.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They came and talked to me. They were
Yeah.
super nice. What were their names?
I just met him that night.
Oh, well, hey, Michelle's friends. Just want to
I
give
was
them a shout out.
drinking
Just wanna
cocktails too.
Is that what it was? You didn't know those people. They were at the table next to you, and they're like, I wish
No,
we
I
had comedy
appreciate-
tickets. Michelle wanted to be the badass. She's like, well, I know
It just so
somebody.
happens I know
Let
someone.
me call my bitch Larry. I don't.
I did pull that card.
You did pull that
I did
card,
pull that card.
and I believed you. Now I feel horrible.
I got a free cocktail. Hey.
Anyway, 9th and 10th, you can get your tickets at Village Liquor in Fort Morgan. You can get them at the golf course or the City Brush Rec Department. So come check us out, and hopefully by now they're not sold out. So
Speaking of Village Liquor, are you having a certain guest? Hook that up.
Yeah, I'll hook it up. We'll hook it up. Hold on, calm down. But anyway, Curt, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
You didn't disappoint.
Just kick me under the table.
By the way, we forgot to do this. Harvest Food Bar is full. It is completely true.
Completely true.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And the dead guy in Kansas is completely true.
100%.
I forgot to do that. That's crazy, man.
That poor guy. He just kept.
And what year was this? About
Oh, man, that had to have been about 93.
93.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I just love that the Apria guy just so
94.
happened to pull up. Here I am. Did it again.
Well, the funniest part of it was the fact that in Atwood, Kansas, they said, welcome to Atwood, the friendliest people in Kansas.
they're
But yet it
all-
was two farm boys from Colorado
Yeah.
that stopped to help.
Nobody stopped to help. They're like, yeah.
Atwood, Kansas. Unless you subscribe to the podcast, and hey, Atwood, Kansas, baby. So
Hit the like button, especially
Yes.
if you're from Atwood.
hit the like button and reach out to Michelle Staley on social media and tell her how disgusted you were at that last comment. So anyway, Curt, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again.
I'm Moose Lunston.
Michelle Stady.
Catch you next time.